So my interest in family led me to create the most personal book I've ever created, which is called All the Way to America. And that is the story of my great-grandfather's journey from Italy to the United States. And I've had this story sort of in the back of my mind even before I created books. I mean, long before I started doing books. And when I moved into New York City when I was in my early 20s, when I was packing, one of the things that I brought was the shovel. The shovel that appears in the book. It's a real shovel. It belonged to my father, my grandfather. It's a shovel that for some reason I went into the garage where it was kept because my father used it to spread rock salt on the driveway. I took this shovel off the shelf in the garage and put it in one of my boxes and moved to my first apartment. And that shovel sat on the shelf of every studio that I've had ever since moving out, you know, when I was about 23 maybe. And it just sat there, and I had been doing books for a lot of years, maybe about 15 years, and I started to think about the story of my great-grandfather coming from Sorrento to New York City at the turn of the century. And I've been turning it over in my head, and that's what I do often before I even start writing anything down. A story will be in my head, and I'll work on it and work on it and work on it. And once I feel like I got somewhere with it, then I'll start drawing sketches or writing notes or something like that. And I had been thinking about this story, and I knew I wanted to do a story about the different generations in my family, but there was nothing connecting it together, and that was my struggle. How can I connect these generations together? And my wife came into the room and picked up the shovel and asked me, "Do you mind if I use this to do some gardening on the terrace?" Because we had some tomato plants, we had some strawberry plants, we had some zucchini, and at that moment, the entire book sort of came together in my head, and I knew that was the connection that I needed throughout the generations. So this is the shovel. This is the actual shovel that's been passed down from generation to generation in my family. And it really symbolizes a connection between the generations, but for me it also symbolizes that you can achieve something. And the theme of the book is work hard, enjoy life, and don't forget your family. And that's repeated throughout the book, and that is the words of wisdom that my great-great-grandfather gave my great-grandfather. It's the words of wisdom that has been passed down through the generations, and that's the same message that I give to my own children. And it's important, and the shovel is a symbol of that. What I imagine for myself in the future are more challenges, more things that I can say yes to. So I would love to continue writing for older kids, and maybe at some point write a young adult novel. Certainly create and produce more television shows, because I adore animation, so I know that's going to be in my future. And also feature films, which is a broader canvas like young adult novels. It's a huge canvas to create something, and that really excites me. And now that apps are coming up, I'm really excited about that, because it's a totally different way of telling a story and experiencing a character in a world, and that really, really intrigues me. So these are the things that I'm really interested in the future.